I don't have enough information about that to like really know whether it's true or not, but I think that maybe that's what's happening. There's a good chance. There's no proof. Yeah.
So it's a really good one to look at in terms of the numbers, because you're saying, and DeepSeek saying, that they spent just $5.6 million on this new AI
That's
model.
insane.
Meta last week said it would spend upward of $65 billion. How come DeepSeek was able to crack this code and do it so much more efficiently?
I wonder.
And the big guys in the US unable to do so?
First of all, it's hard to speculate, but let's just say the following. There is a cliche that I believe is a cliche for a reason. There are more honors students in China than there are students in the United States. You're talking about a very deep pool of very smart people. That's thing one. Two, they've been restricted from getting all of the tools they need from the West, including specifically the kind of chips that would do the computation they need to do the advanced computation. This is a mathematical solution to a hardware problem. It's called algorithmic efficiency. They've actually written code that's more efficient than the code that's being used generally in the space throughout the world. So how did they do it? It's open source. You can see their research. They've been very good and transparent about publishing their research. They haven't exactly shown the secret sauce, but it is something.
It's like video games, right? It's like when video games aren't optimized and it's like on Unreal 5 and like you look at a tree and like your frame rate goes to 7. It's like, yeah, that's what's happening.
That we'll be able to replicate. And by the way, the markets are reacting in a knee jerk, and most people don't understand any of what I'm about to say to you.
Exactly.
No one in the United States, no American, no company anywhere on earth, to be fair, is going to lay down and die because a couple of engineers figured out a better algorithm. Math is math, and engineering is engineering, and these algorithmic efficiency approaches will be figured out worldwide. Now, what does that mean for NVIDIA's chip prices? What does that mean for nuclear power plants for data centers? What does that mean for future data centers? The jury's still out. By the way, no one's replicated this. For all we know, this is the Sputnik moment, or this is the cyber Pearl Harbor where they faked this whole thing and it really wasn't done for $5.5 million in 2 months. We don't know. My guess is it was done for $6 million, and was done in 2 months. That's my guess. And we're all going to have to rise to the challenge. And by the way, I am confident that everybody will.
I think this is also another really big component, is that like when you accept mediocrity and you accept people that are shitty and like bad performance, you basically set yourself up to lose to people who don't. Because that's it. Like, it's like, oh, well, whenever it's, oh, well, things are fine enough the way that they are, other people will come in and they will outperform you.
Yeah, this is the thing. We were talking about the race, the AI race, and I think this is pretty much indicative of the race that has truly just begun. As you say, you can crack this code.
DEI and NVIDIA engineers, I don't think that's what's being said. No, nobody thinks that.
It's a mathematical solution, then you've got people that could work on it. But you touched on something in terms of the hardware and the GPUs and NVIDIA and so forth, and even what it means for electricity consumption for data centers. If what we're hearing from DeepSeek is in fact all factual, what does it actually mean? Does this change the calculation completely for AI?
So at the moment, it is much less expensive to run DeepSeek R1 locally than it is to, or even in the cloud.
That word, keep in mind, locally. That means that you can run this without an internet connection. That's fucking huge. That's insane.
Than it is to run any of the other models. So the question is not, is this better or worse? The question is, going forward, is algorithmic efficiency, this ability to run smaller models more efficiently, going to be a better path forward than the brute force massive compute models that we've used so far at OpenAI and Anthropic and at Google Gemini and at Llama, for Meta's Llama. We don't know the answer to that. Right now, it points towards two futures. One future is algorithmic efficiency. The other is brute force compute. There's no one in the world who can answer this question right now. It's all speculation.
Well, I don't know. I mean, how can you say that? Like, the obvious answer is both. Like, whoever creates the best equilibrium between the two things, they're the ones who are going to win. Like, these aren't mutually exclusive. And they've probably already done that.
Time will tell. And as you've just said, it's very early days, which is like the beginning of the race. We're nowhere near the end of this race.
That's true.
We've never seen anything come this quickly. We've never seen exponential improvement that has really hit us at this speed. So it's accelerating, and we're going to all learn together. That's just the way it's going to go. And the markets are going to follow along because markets do that.
I think he's pretty much right. I mean, like, I think that it's very hard really to tell. Supercomputer is the finish line. Well, I think that a lot of people are banking on things like quantum computing and shit like that to, like, really kind of be that edge. But I have no idea, right? I mean, I don't know enough about it. Like, I know a little bit about it, but I don't know enough about it. Fourth video is good. Yeah, no, I'll look at this probably. Well, this is the one that they made a little bit ago. But it does seem like, obviously, that this thing's going to get huge. I mean, it will. And I think also you're probably going to see more people developing their own models as well. I think this is like Edison versus Tesla. Well, it's very hard really for me to say about that. I don't know. But either way, I think this is really interesting. And that's only just begun. Yeah, did you see NVIDIA stock? No, I didn't. Let me look at it. Give me a second. I'll pull it up. NVIDIA stock. Not so good. Wow, went down a lot. Oh my God. Oh my God. It didn't go down a lot. It went down by 20%. Holy fuck. Oh my God. Did Pelosi pull out? Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll have to see what happens. It crashed. I mean, I wouldn't say this is a crash. I can't say it's a crash yet. Like, if you look at 6 months, it's still above where it was at for 6 months. And I don't know about you guys. What do you guys think? Do you think that the new chipsets that they announced this year, the 5090s and everything, do you think that they... Like, my opinion is like it was a 6 or a 7 out of 10. A 5. Wow. Yeah, mid, right? Kind of disappointing. I think that this is a problem also, is that NVIDIA has been like such a meteoric success. And because it's been such a meteoric success, people expect that to continue, right? They expect it to just keep having these like crazy updates and everything. And when that doesn't happen, then people freak out and they're like, oh my God, maybe the gravy train is ending. So I personally think that NVIDIA might be a little bit overvalued. I think so. I think that there's too much speculation, but maybe not. Who knows?
As mentioned previously, is continuing to
Welcome to Event VODs. Watch the full game of today's LEC 2025 matchup.
So the Garen naturally targeted towards Adam. We saw his proficiency on the champion on day 1. Victor going to be removed from the pool as well. Callista, Ashe, Varus, all still up and available. I say Ashe, I expected her to be high on the priority list, but really she hasn't risen to priority, at least here in Europe. Victor is something that teams have put a lot of priority on. Callista becomes the next main champion that a lot of these teams will look to try and grab. Bear in mind, it is Ice, typically known for his Varus. throughout his LEC career. So we'll see what the priority ends up being, as that is in fact taken off the board.
And a good call, Vedius, right? For Ice, no stranger to both builds. I think the best lethality Varus last year in Winter, when it was really at its most popular, one of the few players who could consistently land those Qs in the clutch moment. But Corki, of course, as powerful as ever. Kind of, it's been described as a fake flex because in other regions they played exclusively mid and we played exclusively bot, but we'll see if it's a little bit less fake today, as 3 control mages in the mid lane have already been banned away, so that pool is notably smaller. And while Garen is off the board, Adam does still have the luxury of counter pick on red side if he wants to hold out. See if that's what they're looking for.
I mean, with a lot of mages gone, I'm curious as to what direction Larson will end up going. Obviously, we know him traditionally as a mage player, but when we kind of look at the mid pool, things like Talia kind of rise in priority, and with Corki taken off the board as well. I'm very curious as to what direction they'll end up going. Kalista, Maokai going to be the response, like the response coming out from Rogue. Does make a lot of sense. We have a lot of power on the bot side of the map. The 2 versus 2, both Maokai and Sejuani. Typically, I prefer the Maokai just because of the flexibility of the champion. We haven't seen it be played top, but last year in the LEC, it was played a decent amount on the top side, as well as the fact that you can flex it into the support role. Marang saying, you know what, I want that little bit more early skirmishing power that Sejuani can provide, potential synergy depending on what mid laner you want to pair it up with, and an easy engage as well.
And we saw yesterday, right? Day 1, Malrang did pull out the Maokai. Was a bit of a slower early game. Seems like a champion, the Sejuani, that he's more comfortable on pulling the trigger, going for those fast engages. 1-1-3, we'll see what he wants to do here. Both these players, often the ones initiating the plays. And 1-1-3 coming off a tough game yesterday, even with BDS able to kind of bring it back with some incredible play from Paras and Nuke. See if they can keep that momentum going forward as Rogue. They were here a lot yesterday. It was basically a 60-minute game, and they were close as so many points to winning it. And you know that has to sting. They're hoping to find that win here.
You're going to get to see Adam's Olaf as a response to the Cassante. You know, it's ironic that we just heard from Adam talking about how your champion needs to be able to lane swap in the current meta. So we'll see how things pan out, because right now Rogue would love to get standard lanes, drafting both Kalista and Olaf. But I don't know if BDS is going to be willing to give it to them. Ezreal going to be joining the ranks of AD carry bans. I wonder now if we'll see something like the Jinx taken away. Ashe, I think, would be a good ban. When I think of Ice, Ashe and Varus were his go-to champions last year. Ashe, in particular, into Kalista is also a very good pick, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that ban come through.
And you can see they are respecting the potential for Corki to go into the mid lane because they're banning that Ezreal. They're saying, hey, we want this AD pool even smaller. We're happy with the Corki lane. We don't want to put up with anything else. Now Renata taken away. Potentially could be another range support to follow.
They may ban, well, I was going to say they could consider Blitzcrank depending on what they're thinking on the bot side, but I'll hold my breath for now. Oh, it's going to be the Jinx instead, so Rogue really asking for the Ashe pick. I guess the counter argument is, sure, while the Kalista might not have a great time into the Ashe, Olaf loves playing into the Ashe. There's very little that she can do. So much of her power comes from the utility that she provides and all her slows, and that doesn't apply to Olaf.
Yeah, and with the changes to Ashe, still obviously a solid matchup in a lot of ways, but not quite as much of a hard counter in terms of feels bad laning phase, given the changes to the way that Kalista's passive works. Slow's not as effective as they once were. But what is the option going to be here? Easy support, save, likely mid lane for 5th pick. Rel in general, I still think kind of pick of the litter when it comes to support options. Seems to remain the best engaged champ from what we've seen over these first few days at least.
Oh, quick swap.
Oh, Larson Cassio against Nuke.
Yeah, I thought I was looking at BDS for a second there. Nuke is traditionally the Cassio player that we have in the LEC. I'm going to have to look back through Larson's history, because from what I recall, I don't remember a Cassio game ever coming out from Larson in his LEC career.
I mean, it's going to be a deep cut for sure. Nothing in recent memory. Now BDS get a little bit of time, have to lock in their last 2 champions. Rel feels like an easy pickup, does give Execute the option to counter, although a bit tough to do. Rel just universally pretty solid. Last option here, Talia the hover. Will be tricky. Larson the Cassio, obviously the big question. Alongside Patrick on the Kalista, very different look between day 2 and day 3 Rogue. Much shorter range carry threats, not the same long range scaling backliners we saw in their long game yesterday. And Hui now the answer, who very clearly wants to keep the shorter range champions as far away as humanly possible. Might be tricky if the Leona does get locked in, power that solar flare, but overall, not too bad of a position for BDS in draft.
I mean, so far we're seeing, well, very traditionally a lot of teamfight compositions in the current meta, and that looks like it's going to maintain that way. Obviously, with the Corki and the Hui, you've got a lot of long-range poke on the side of BDS, looking to, as you rightly said, keep the enemy at arm's length with a few engage options and disengage tools. I do quite like what Rogue have brought out for themselves, though. A lot of early game power on the bot side of the map. If they can get that 1v1 matchup on the top side, Adam has the ability to run away with it, and the ability to run down their opposition with the amount of engage that they have. Ultimately, it's going to be a question of who is able to execute better on the fights.
Crucial question. Of course, I'm just going to also call out feats of strength. I think for a lot of people in solo queue, you know, the extra 5 movement speed feels good. But in a game like this, Olaf having tier 3 Swifties, it matters a lot. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself there because we're quite far away from feats of strength, but I'll just call it out now, just plant the seed.
The man's like, I don't need to run Ghost anymore.
Yeah,
I
it's
can just...
Welcome to Event VODs. Watch the full game of today's LEC 2025 matchup.
Position, but it worked yesterday against SK, and it's leaving me with this weird feeling where I'm not sure what to expect. Vitality, though, already expecting a red side Adam pick, so we'll take the Garen off the board.
Wow, the Garen ban is kind of crazy. I mean, I've been liking what we've seen from Rogue. Definitely more proactivity, more action. I want to see some bot lane fighting. I think when Vitality has lost their games is when their bot lane falls behind. I think Malrang is great at abusing lane volatility, and I want to see him pick an early game jungler. Let's start camping that bot lane, and let's see how many deaths we can get on Hilly.
Look, it's a noble pursuit, a strategy that many junglers, I'm sure, have tried before. And we'll have to see how it works out. And I like the consistency, right? We saw a little bit more aggression from Malrang. We want them to keep dialing that in. Against Fnatic, you had to be ready to fight fire with fire, and I think it is a similar story against Vitality. Safety for Chak in the mid lane in the form of the Victor. Rogue, what do they want to go for Larson here? Already, of course, the Azir's been banned away, so Varus will be the first pick, just securing something with some strong early prio.
It's going to be the Vi as well, paired up with that Varus. Not very strong early game. Mostly just going to be waiting until level 6. So probably Malrang is not going to go too crazy on this pick. Also curious to see the Victor, because it got nerfed on this patch. They're on live after all.
Yep.
And it's still first pick or ban, pretty much.
And this is one of those things where I think it takes a long time also for teams to give up safe champions, even when they are hit a little bit with the nerf bat. Yeah. But we'll see if Victor has retained that same amount of strength. This still look good, obviously, throughout most of this week. But Linsis getting his hands on the Wukong late game team fighting does seem pretty good for Vitality with the composition they put together. But I'm a bit more worried about early to mid game when you're facing down the Mbessa-Vi combination post level 6.
Yeah, we've seen this combo played a lot. It just sets up the Embezzled so easily with the point and click from Vi. I'm quite curious to see how this Wukong is going to perform, though. I don't feel like we've really seen it much at all, but it's very good into 80 champions, and Rogue already has 3 of them, so I could definitely see this being a pretty damn good Wukong game.
And we've been here before. Does armor matter?
Yeah.
The results
well, this time he has it in his kit, and he can buy armor.
He gets armor for free from the Stone Skin passive. Maybe it'll be enough to punish everyone who's just building comps with only physical damage.
And we see Rogue in the second phase, targeting the ADC pool, banning out the Saya. And it's a really good pick into the Vi, kind of a classic pick. And they're probably going to keep targeting the ADC. I'd assume maybe an Estral. Oh, it's already banned first phase, actually. Corki. Yep. So yeah, even more mobility out.
And for those curious as to why there's so much AD, targeting happening in picks and bans here, I think it's safe to say that Carzzy has been kind of the strongest individual member that we've seen from Vitality. Even when some of the lane phases have been a little bit suspect, he's still finding ways to salvage what could have been losing 2v2s. And with Nautilus and Orianna banned away, Vitality are hedging their bets a little bit on what they want. But again, more point and click is definitely not what they want to give away, so the Nautilus taken.
Yeah, I could see Larson going for maybe the Azir here on 4, and then going last pick for Execute.
Azir banned, man. You got.
Oh, yeah, I'm trolling here. But picking Rakan here is kind of strange because you already see the mid lane pick. But maybe they just really value the Rakan synergy with Vi and Mbessa. They already go in for you, and Rakan's a great follow-up. But it's a bit weird. Usually you always want counterpick on support.
How do you feel about Adam counterpicking Garen?
That's
banned. So.
Hey!
Yeah, I don't know. The bans are a bit slow. Well, you could go Darius.
I'm trying to keep you on your feet. I'm just trying to keep you on your feet. You know, it's a little bit of a test.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't expect. I just wanted to leave potential for the mid lane at best of play. Oh, okay. All right. All right. How much do you know about this champion?
I know it quite well.
Damn it. Okay, I thought I was going to get to sound really smart
OP
this cast.
when the enemy plays it, and it's useless when I play it, so I feel like I'm pretty familiar with it.
Me too. You can ask Dag about it later. Okay, this generally, from what I know of Neela, you really want to be playing against an enemy melee support so that you can, you know, harass a little bit. You're not completely punished here.
I think that the idea here is that, so obviously Rogue wants to dive. You know, they got the Vi and Bessa. They're going to jump on whoever they can. But if you jump on Nyla, she presses W.
Yep.
And then what are you going to do? You can't really one-shot her in that time frame, and you need to wait it out. And hopefully during that time, Hylissang's going to CC, Linka's going to CC, even got some Victor W. So she just is able to buy so much time. Oh, we got the Galio Vi. Really cool, both team comps actually.
And I think this is the thing, is Rogue are showing us something that we've seen in the hands of many teams at this point, right? A lot of engage options, this dive combination with the Mbessa Vi. Vitality are showing us something new in the sense that counter dive to an even greater degree. Having Victor trying to survive, not enough. They got a Wukong, not enough. They've got a Neela now too. And the question is, Rogue with this composition, can they find these picks? Can they find these individual kills? Or are they going to be forced to dive this Neela? And the later you get in the game, the harder it gets, because she starts hitting like a truck very early on.
Yeah, to be fair though, one thing I feel like Rogue has going for them against this Nyla pick is they just have so much CC that if they kind of ping-pong the fight well and they play it slow, they can easily bait out the Nyla W and then re-engage with either Galio or Rakan or even Mbessa. I'm assuming from Vitality we're going to see a swap, because Nyla's an interesting champion. When she plays with a range support, she actually has a really good laning phase, because she just kind of tries to get pushed and the range support pokes. But when she plays with a melee support, you guys are both kind of melee champions, so you're super vulnerable. So I'm expecting to see Vitality just swap to get out of the first few levels of the laning phase. Maybe we see Rogue try to kind of match it, and then we have some early game fist fight going on. But I think Rogue is also kind of fine farming in the early game so that Malorang can just get to level 6 safely.
Level 6, crucial. Again, the point-click CC, the simplicity of it. Larson, again, we saw the Sylas earlier this week. Now we're seeing the Galio, a departure from control mages. And maybe this is a situation where Larson can take an advantage that he finds in lane or elsewhere on the map and convert it into a lead for the rest of the team.
They did also like really target his champion pool. You know, when you ban out the Azir and you ban out the Orianna, there's not really many good control mages left. You could go something like Quay, but it's like, it's not that useful, so I'm not too surprised to see the Galio. It's also great with the Vi, like we saw Fnatic playing, I believe, on Saturday, the weekends together, the Galio Vi, wombo combo, both point and click, very nice.
30 seconds until minions
So,
spawn.
it's always interesting in games like this where you know it's going to be a fist fight at level 6 to see if anyone will fist fight before level 6.
Yeah, you can see Rogue is kind of predicting the swap, so that's why they're like 5-man sitting in top side, because they think Vitality will look to late to mid top to try to get a swap going. It looks like, I think Vitality is gonna still go for the swap, but we'll see. It's a bit of mind games at this point, right?
I mean, this is the awkward thing about doing without really any vision.
Yeah, what you'd want to do as Rogue, when you really don't want to let the enemy swap, is invade on one side. But their level 1, I think, is weaker. Yeah, it's for sure weaker. It's like, I mean, Vi and...
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
I mean, Neela level 1 isn't insane. Extended fight, it probably
if they
is.
face check into you, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Knock-Knock taking a bit of a poke there. He's going to TP down to bottom side. So that cooldown already expended just to ensure the swap.
Yeah, so that does mean, that just tells me that Linkas is probably going to be really attentive to covering this dive, because a lot of the time when you get dove as a top laner when you're in a swap situation, it can be fine because you can TP back. But if Knock-Knock now gets dove with no TP, it's a disaster.
It's also interesting because a lot of the times, one of the strengths of Neela that we talk about is her ability to snowball experience, right? She just gets more experience when she sits in this duo lane.
Yeah.
And I'm only really used to talking about that in the context of a 2v2. I think it's the first lane swap game I've cast with the Neela in it. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see what this does potentially for Hylissang or anyone else on the team. I think leaving Carzio on his lonesome, it would suck to lose out on that bonus. Hylissang is sticking around, but these fast level 2s and earlier level 3 does potentially mean that Hylissang can start to impact mid or any other part of the map much sooner.
Yeah, you see he's channeling the recall, so he could recall now. The thing is, that can be nice because then he can cover bot with level 2, but it feels really bad for the Neela because it's like you're picking it for the XP. So if then your support is not going to be there, then you might as well have picked a normal ADC.
It is a little bit awkward. Of course, the other big strength of Neela is that as she gets crit, she also gets free armor pen and lifesteal, more or less, versus champions. So while there isn't really a true tank on the side of Rogue, Neela's damage scaling does get pretty insane. It's essentially like anytime Riot wants to make a melee AD carry viable, they have to have some insane scaling in their kit. Yasuo.
I mean, they've put a lot of crazy stuff in Neela's kit.
Yeah, it's
the XP, the armor pen, everything is like...
They're like, we will make someone who can go bot as a melee champion if it takes everything we have.
And it still is so incredibly niche, so... I don't know.
Yeah.
But for me, the biggest thing that I have with Neela is like, why is her E so clunky? And Samira came out before, and Samira E feels so good. Makes no sense.
That's a good question.
But it's better now. They actually like patched it a bit.
Oh, patched it,
here
and you
holding
max
the
it now
wave.
usually, is Hylissang. Taking a big chunk of damage.
I mean, he does get to kind of hold the wave, but if he has the base, I'm not too big of a fan of this. Because then again, you're not getting that solo XP or the duo XP that you want from the Neela. But Patrick is so it's also hard for Rogue bot lane to really stay.
Yeah, and you don't have the Halo Blades, right? He went with the Comet here, which is obviously nice for the poke, but means an extended trade it's difficult.
Yeah.
You can, however, understand with Neela W, the Jubilant Veil, the ability to dodge those autos, why Halo Blades wouldn't feel like the premier choice.
One thing that we didn't talk about with the Neela actually is a big part of her synergy with a lot of supports is that she buffs healing and shielding. So the rel pairing isn't actually the best for Neela's kit in the sense that, you know, she doesn't interact with the healing or shielding much. But what's nice about the rel Neela combo is that once you hit level 6, you have a really clear engage window where you just, if you land the CC, it's usually a kill.
Absolutely. And you have the cleanse on top of it, right? And so if you ever get on top of Patrick, even if he cleanse flashes, it's so easy for Neela to just run him down. I wonder if we see Swifties here just for more movement speed on the Neela. Obviously popular on a lot of champions is Carsey's getting aggressive here. That's the double stack on the E. Slipstream already used. Nice backstep. But just a slightly positive trade.
Yeah, they're going to look to hard push this wave with Rogue bot lane basing, and it should be a decent enough CS lead for Vitality bot lane here. And an even bigger XP lead due to this Nyla jump.
But finally we're,
This thing's level 5. That's kind of crazy. XP is level 3.
This is the true vision.
Yeah.
You don't understand. Carsey is here to support.
Yeah.
Hylissang. Get him to
praise
level 6.
Hylissang.
And I gotta say, like, I actually kind of like this, like setting up Hylissang for success here, because I think one of the struggles
He took a solo plate.
I think one of the struggles that Vitality has had multiple times in their history with Hylissang is that I think you've got to be all in on Hilly or you got to be all in on somebody else. But the halfway measure, you know, it doesn't really work. It is really all or nothing. Like, you gave the man your lungs. He gambled them away. You got to go get the lungs back, or you're just not going to be breathing.
Double or nothing.
You gave your life to this man. You're committed at this point.
Yeah.
You know? Exactly. Double down. Gamble. I'll pretend they're clapping for whatever that was that we just discussed, but instead it's the Hextech Drake. No one's getting any feats of strength. And this is a surprisingly quiet game.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what ends up happening, right? When you have this lane swap coming out, where neither both lanes are really interacting with each other. It's going to be probably a grub contest here from Rogue, though. Varus is a bit late, so now it's going to be able to push out this top wave. And Cassandra has TP. I think we might have a 5-5.
Are they going to get level 6 in time? That's the big question. Linsis still a little ways away, needs one more camp. But Rogue, despite the initial push, Rogue still able to get positioned to get at least one grub away. Again, that will deny the feat, or the credit towards the feat for getting objectives.
Santa's not TPing, so it looks like they're just going to drop it. Yeah, just going to give up 3 grubs to Rogue. Bit of a nice fake contest from Vitality. I maybe would have liked to see Cassandra TPing.
Oh, flash out from Hylissang.
Where's Hilly
into
going?
Enemy territory. He's going to W back through onto Patrick. It was all a ruse. Carsey's still level 5, but he's going to step forward with the slipstream. This is a bit crazy because they don't have the damage to finish this kill.
This looks really illegal from Vitality.
Over the wall. Now the ulti coming with the Galio. Larson on the way. Execute looking to follow up. Flash out. Lince is now on the chase. Should be able to get at least 1 kill back. The cancel, crucial. Shayak manages to stop that one. Now there's a taunt here, but Larson's just walking.
Okay, maybe Hill is the goat. That looked so wrong, but it was like so good. And Shayak canceling the Galio was so clutch. Because if he got that Galio off, it would have been a really good fight for Rogue.
Yeah. It's rare that we have...
He just ran into enemy jungle and like mind controlled him into a good fight. That was kind of cool.
this is the thing about Hilly, right? Is I think that
When you think he's in thing, he's not.
no, I mean it's not even that. It's like it's a deeper spiritual question as to whether or not you believe in him. You know, a lot of people ponder religion. I feel like LEC fans ponder, do we think Hilly's the GOAT or not? It's tough to know which side you end up on. It changes every day.
I mean, it might be Caps, but
No. You said GOAT. I didn't start the GOAT conversation. I'm just using the words that you used.
fair enough.
But so far, so good. Early steel caps, certainly going to feel solid. Carzzy well on his way to finishing Collector. Just fantastic early item spike for Neela.
Yeah. Winning lane as Neela is such a privilege because it just allows you to further snowball this XP lead so much. Like, he's going to be probably up like 2 levels after this wave, or very close to it, which is just...
Well, and winning it with a melee support, right? Which is kind of the big uncharacteristic thing. If you had a Senna in your lane, it'd be much more believable.
Yeah.
But now you have a lot of the strengths of Neela without needing any additional strength in lane to carry her through. It is so hard for Patrick to walk up at this point. The XP deficit means he probably gets one shot if he walks in. He has no cleanse. And Vitality very aware of it as they're just taking their time pushing this wave.
I'm also not the biggest fan of Patrick going for the lethality route this game because he has champions that are going so deep. I would have liked them more to just go for the DPS route, which is also better scaling. I feel like him sitting in the back line throwing Qs is not really... doesn't fit with the identity of Rogue comp very well.
I mean, he's the only person sitting back, right? But I guess the other argument would be, how does he actually get in the fight with all these other champions?
He just clicks forward, I think.
They all got a lot of
that
dashes.
CC and
I don't know if you know about this about Vars, but he just kind of walks.
That's
you know,
true.
whatever he's doing, he just walks menacingly. Everyone else on this team has like a dive, a dash.
But also, when you keep in mind the fact that you're... Oh,
flash out from Patrick.
Really good play from Hilly.
Yeah, just gets that. And now it's even worse for Patrick. The good news is level 6, right, you can just disengage a play as long as you don't get caught out by an E-ult from Carzzy.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to keep talking about this Varus build.
Yeah.
I think so. The biggest reason I think it's bad is because Vitality is going to buy a lot of armor. Your only AP is a Galio, so if you go the on-hit build, you're getting the mixed damage.
True.
So you don't really mind the armor that much. But when you're buying lethality, I see plated steel caps. We're probably going to see plated steel caps on Wukong. We're probably going to see it on Nyla. That hurts as a lethality buyer.
I mean, it's a very... I agree. You've convinced me.
Thank you.
The question now, though, for Rogue is, with the lethality build, how do you navigate a lot of these situations? Early Swifties from Patrick.
I think you still want to stick to your guns and just get a really good engage. And it's not until Varus maybe hits 2 or 3 items that you actually want to try to get poked off. But right now, you just kind of want to have the game plan of follow the Vi engage with all that you got and hope that it's a good engage.
And we need to see, I think, Rogue pick up the pace a little bit now that they've ticked past level 6. Because as we saw in a lot of the SK games where the Galio was played mid, is that it's just not going to match the outputs of a Victor later in the game. And I think that's doubly true when you're solo AP on an entirely, you know, AD composition. So what can they actually do in this mid game? How can they actually accelerate the pace of the game? Right now it is just trading objective for objective. So second grub spawn for a Drake.
And that's what makes, I think, this Nyla pick so great, is that a lot of the time when you have this Vi Galio comp, you want to have the Galio push out of side lane and then move to mid and look to pick off the ADC. But because it's a Nyla, she has a W, she has the E, she's way too mobile, which means that the only real game plan they have is to either make a play on Cassante or Victor. And neither seem really that easy at this stage of the game.
Yeah, it's tough, right? If you get ahead of the clock, if you find leads, it might be easier to find that dive on a Chayak. But if you're behind, diving a Victor is how most team fights end in favor of the Victor.
Oh, Hilly.
Exactly what he wants. Q flash forward. Lince is now with the follow-up as well. Patrick going to be in trouble. Hilly using the ultimate ignite now, ticking first kill. And that exchange, the second for Vitality overall. XQ will walk away. But good punish. They knew the window. They knew the flash was not available. They get the cleanse as well, and Patrick drops.
Wow, I'm impressed by Hilly this game. It's clean. He's playing very well. Really punishing Patrick. This is all from the setup of earlier getting Patrick's flash that allowed this Q flash from Hilly to just go uninterrupted. He can't dodge it and just sets up this play, and it's really nice from Hilly.
Looks good. Knockout. Now a little bit in trouble. Didn't see if he used the Pathmaker. He did. 6 seconds left on the cooldown. Things are going to be a little bit awkward here. There's a lot of CC now forced to use the ult, which will reset the W. The flash out. The side step. He's clean with it. He didn't even look back. Just a little skirt to the left.
Vitality are looking good, Dracos. They're getting fancy.
I was not ready for the sudden change of performance because it was a slot fest yesterday, but today, Vitality looking clean, punishing Rogue everywhere on the map. The escape from Knock Knocko nice, and not really anything for Larssen to do here on the top side.
And as Vitality, if I'm a Vitality fan, like, I am so happy seeing Wukong fed this game. He's gonna get so much armor from his passive. The champs Rogue has are so bad at killing him and shutting him down.
TP, they're committed. First you don't succeed, try again. Minion's about to die.
Oh,
Taunt there, Linsis is there. There's really just no play to be had. They don't have any more follow damage onto Knock Knocko. But cleverly, Vitality will just back off. They see that there are more champions in the area. They know overcommitting will cost them. But the second attempt
it's
into
a great
bottom
cover
lane.
by Linkus.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Linsis, but also, it was going to be tricky regardless. Nice dash forward. Knock Knocko on a tear. Doesn't quite hit the Q3, but wasn't going to be in range in any way. Larssen does manage to escape, but mid lane tower is in trouble the entire time. Plays have been happening on the bottom side. Carzzy pushing in mid, getting some of these additional plates.
It feels like Vitality are kind of like styling on him a little bit, you know? Getting these small leads here and there, just mechanically outplaying. Like there, Knock Knocko getting the Larssen flash, just outmaneuvering the Galio like that.
And when we look at the objectives, right, the previous plan was just trade for trade, cross-map, nothing fancy. Any team is going to do that. But you're right, when you look at these two back-to-back plays on the bottom side, first one, 100% Knock Knocko I'm playing. Second play, Linsis covering well, and it's starting to feel like Vitality are just consistently a step ahead. And when you combine that with a little bit of the hands diff we're getting, it's not looking good for the side of Rogue.
Yeah.
Oh, starting. Maybe back Knock Knocko. I don't think he's too scared of the Galio damage output.
Yeah, these tanks are not going to do too much damage, I think. So the next objective I'd be looking for is like the Mountain Drake, really important for both teams. Just the bonus resistances this game is going to be so important. And I think the biggest win con Rogue could have this game is trying to get towards Soul. Because I think a team fight at this stage of the game, you're not really going to be winning it. But if you can get that Soul, the Mountain Shield is so valuable against kind of this burst comp that Vitality has in the Victor and the Nyla.
Yeah, the ability to survive there, make those additional tanky stats count just that much more. We are 1 feat of strength in terms of objectives to the side of Rogue. So if they are able to knock down a tower here, if they can find some sort of successful play, bot is low. That's kind of what they were fishing for. They will get the upgraded boots. And I don't think the upgraded boots matter too much for the side of Rogue, but they really do not want to give the upgraded steel caps to the side of Vitality.
Yeah, just giving 5 armor across the board to every single steel caps user.
Plus, I mean, the shield once you upgrade too, right?
Yeah,
just that additional bit of scaling.
The instant stats for me, it's like, well, it feels the worst to be honest.
There's the Pathmaker.
This might be something.
Some fist fighting. Does he want to go all out? The answer, currently no.
This reminds me of like Season 9, Tank v Tank. Was it Season 9? Season 8? I don't know.
The thing is, Cassante can kill people.
That's true. It's like surprising.
There's a certain comfort in watching like Ornn versus Maokai, knowing that no one is going to die.
Or Fist versus Echo.
Yeah, there's just... That was terrible, because that was both high action and no action. There were 50 abilities coming out every second, and none of them mattered. Unless you were an 80 carry, in which case you were getting one shot. But if you were tank v tank, it did not matter.
Adam really wants this tower. He's recognizing that mid tower of Rogue is also really low. So it's a race against the clock to see who can get the first tower for the feats.
No, cover. A lot of desperation from the side of Rogue, it's safe to say. Trying to force the same play consistently. Adam level 11, I can see why they'd want to play around the Ambessa, but overcommitting here.
You can see Carzzy is also 2 levels up on Patrick. I mean, Patrick is about to hit level 10, but still, it makes such a big difference for just mid-wave contests, and overall the power of the 2 champions' levels are just so OP.
And then Neela gets really scary. Again, the crit scaling on this champion is ludicrous. 2 items. Gonna feel pretty impressive. It's Knock Knocko, now Pathmaker, interrupting a bit of the taunt. CC there now is gonna need to ult to get the reset on the Pathmaker. W crucial to try to escape again, and they're just gonna rinse and repeat on this play. Dragon getting taken down in the meantime. Linz is happy with that one. Dash through to the minion. Q backwards. Hillisang on the way in. Instant ulti. Knock Knocko's still alive. This is not fair. They'll finally get the kill. Larsen's out of mana though. So Hillisang will walk away. A kill traded for the objective on the bottom side of the map. Rogue.
A nice attempt from Hilly from a heroic save, but not quite enough this time, and they're able to take down Knock Knocko. But as Vitality, you get the Mountain Drake. I think you're still pretty happy.
Do you want to know what's insane?
What?
If Cassante didn't have the nerf where he could cancel his ult early, he would have. I think he would have just lived that. You just instantly cancel off the W and you do not die. Just a reminder that this is the most balanced this champion has ever been.
Yeah, but that's a pretty low bar, isn't it?
Wonder if they're tired of it on the balance team. Just the endless Cassante roasts. Or if they're here for
3 years of Cassante being OP and everybody complaining. I don't think they're tired, actually.
Nah, they're actually probably really up for another round of casters complaining about Cassante.
Let's buff them, I think. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, probably. Got to get the gold win rates up, baby. Anyway, Rogue taking down a Herald. And overall, despite, I think, the game pace not feeling quite like what their composition wants, they are still able to get these objectives. First tower, though, you can see all of Rogue scrambling to cover, but Patrick is starting to hit like a truck.
Yeah,
Oh, ulti whipping.
About to give him a compliment on his damage. I think it's working.
First tower. They're so close. They're going to force it. 100%. Desperate to get this.
Autos on this, though.
Victor trying to force the bot climb. It's a tower race. Whoever gets it gets the first feet. Oh, Victor! Bigger fan of feet, baby. He loves them.
They still need a kill for Vitality, or 2 kills for Rogue, and they might be about to get it here.
Trying to get that one. Public execution now trying to dash away the Drakehound's step. The Drakehound's retreat. Okay, 1 more kill.
Or 2 more kills.
Or 2 more kills if you're a Rogue fan. I lied. I shouldn't have given away the who's the most excited for feet award yet. Carzy. Apotheosis pull back. Malrang in trouble. He might just die here, but Larson, good chain CC, locking him up. Carzy able to flash back to safety, trying to get a bit more space. They have another charge of Slipstream. The shield coming in. The shield bow does some work, but not nearly enough. Rogue might get the second kill here. They just need to kill Hylissang. Can't get it.
Wow. Malrang is able to set up the Larson ulti, and he has this whole team behind him, kind of baiting Carzy and Hylissang in. And they get the mid tower, which is crucial, and another kill for the feats of strength. 1 more kill besides.
All right. Cast your bets. I don't know if we can get a poll. Who gives up the next kill? Or who gets the next kill? We'll keep it positive. We don't want to make too negative.
I think Vitality will get the next.
You think Vitality going to get the next kill?
Yeah.
Your faith in Hylissang has gone full circle.
Yeah.
We have flipped back and forth over like the 2 weeks we've cast together.
I'm an open-minded man.
Or a flip-flopper. It's hard to be certain at this point.
Open-minded.
Open-minded. All right, you're very progressive.
Yes.
There it is. Another tower falls. But towers, do we really care? It's about the feats of strength. It's about 5 extra armor and move speed.
I think this is the first time I've seen 12 CS per minute Galio.
That's a really good call out. I don't think anyone, when they think Chovying, thinks Galio. In fact, they probably think just about the opposite of that. But credit to Larson.
He's looking pretty strong. 2 items here, and in general, we kind of thought this game would be hard for Rogue, but they made a good pick now. They got the mid bot tower, and they're looking to have control over this Drake area. And I think a team fight can easily go in their favor at this point.
Definitely can. Still a lot of good tools for team fighting on the side of Vitality. We did see in the game yesterday versus SK, which again was a very odd game. As we got later, Vitality played a bit better as a team. Worked a bit better together around the big objectives. Otacon, of course, now spawning. It is voracious, always hungry. Not to be confused with ravenous, which has been confusing the heck out of both of us, which is another word that means hungry.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, that one. I think ruinous for me, it doesn't really mean anything. It's like the ruinous Otacon.
They aren't going to call him like Angie Otacon, like Grumpy. Should have given him some cutesy oo-woo name. Just ruin entirely the motif they were going for.
Why?
I'm a fan.
The Yuumi mains, or
for the Yuumi mains. Yeah, they've been neglected.
You can see both teams are really angling for some control over the Otacon here. Oh, Malrang.
Malrang, good lockdown. Shayak flashes out. Linsis.
I like that. Just take the flash. Be happy. Don't go deeper. Good patience by Malrang.
Could have been bad.
Yeah, 'cause I think if you ulti in there, if Rel is close, then Wukong CC chains as well, can easily turn bad.
And now the question is, how do they protect Shayak? He's going to be much more vulnerable on the side lane. Any of those ultis connect, the Ambessa, the Vi, etc. Things could get difficult, but for now, Dragon is the objective. Rogue looking to move up to Soul Point here.
He's going to be a free Drake for Rogue here. I have a hard time seeing how Linkus can get into the pit without suicide stealing, but if he does that, then it's free Otacon, so hope he doesn't do that.
And free feats of strength.
True.
Arguably more valuable. Okay, Dragon goes down. 3rd for Rogue.
Oh, this looks deep.
Going down. Good initial route. Follow-up now coming from Larson. It's actually such a clean combo. Carzy didn't even get to play the game for a quick second, but Carzy out with the slipstream and now the turn and burn. Rogue, if they were overplayed their hand. The third kill hasn't come through. Malrang gets to get it. Carzzy trying to hold on. Can they find the third kill in the meantime? What's happening on the other side of the screen? He needs to dodge the Q. Carzzy gets it! Feeding some strength for Vitality. Closely contested. They find another in the back of the play. It's soul point for Rogue, but at a damn high cost.
I think the game has just blown open from Rogue. That's going to be execute dead.
Flashed in, execute down. Chayak ready to go in. Gravity field for a bit extra slow. Hillisang on the chase. Hextech Ray.
Atakan is gonna die as well. This is...
Knock-Knocko's killing Patrick. There's no way he gets out of this one.
All right, let's see it.
Thumbs up. He's gonna Q-stack.
Dun, 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 dun.
He has flat. Is he willing to just eat a million tower shots for this?
League of Legends a horror movie.
For who, though, is the question.
Well, we'll see.
W. Forward. Into the tower. Arguably questionable, but another W out to safety. Knock-Knocko. A little overconfident after that last sequence of play, but Hilly comes in just in time. I was going to say with a locket. He did not have a locket. I don't know what he
gave him move speed
He gave him movement speed with the E. Thank you. But Otacon will fall. A second life available for Vitality. And while it has been scrappy, like well played in the last sequence.
Crucially, that Otacon falls after the 23-minute mark, which means they can use it to set up the Baron Nashor. You can see here, Execute thinks he can pick out Chayak, knows he has no flash, doesn't get it. Looks like a really good engage onto Carzzy, but Carzzy gets the ult off, he gets the E off, and he gets out. And the whole fight is so split up from Rogue. And Carzzy and Malrang having a little 1v1 here. Carzzy gets the better out of him. And Rogue is just so split up. They didn't get the initial one-shot that they needed with their comp. And if they don't get that, they just get ran down.
It's tough. And at this point,
and then Execute's kind of like desperate here, trying to clear the ward.
Get something. And we highlighted this already. Once Patrick's caught out, it's really tough for him to survive. Does manage to make it out. Vitality fans,
they're passionate.
Really excited.
Let's see it.
And fair. Okay, so for anyone who's not keeping up with playoff stakes, I know it is 8 teams that make it, but just to catch everybody up, if Rogue lose today, so every team with 5 wins, any team that makes it to 5 wins for the rest of our season will qualify for playoffs, which doesn't affect either of these 2 teams immediately.
But this win is huge for Vitality.
But this win is huge for every other team and certainly huge for Vitality. Our top 4 preying on Rogue's downfall right now.
If Vitality would have lost this game to Rogue, of course the game's not over yet, but then suddenly both teams are 2 and 4, and you have this scenario where it can easily be like maybe Vitality and SK that don't make it. While if Vitality win this, they secure themselves on 3 wins, Rogue's on 1 win, and they haven't locked playoffs, but they're in a much, much better position.
And I think the thing to highlight is, as shaky as a lot of these Vitality games have been, they've still got those 2 wins, right? And getting a 3rd win here does matter. At the end of the day, getting yourself to playoffs, there's a break week 2 between playoffs and the regular season, getting that extra time to practice, to get on the same page, it's going to benefit a lot of these teams that have been struggling near the bottom. And Vitality, even just the difference between day 1, day 2, and day 3, in terms of how well Hilly has been playing, is highly noticeable.
Vitality start the Nash here. I think this Otacon buff is going to expire soon. Kind of want to see Rogue try to wait it out and then look for an engage. You can see Carzzy really wants to fight while the Otacon buff is up. But I could see this being maybe a throw for Vitality here. They're getting chunked.
This is a good time for Patrick to be going for poke. That said, it does not really do much damage.
Good ult from Patrick.
Knock-Knocko going over the wall, trying to isolate them out. The call is now to finish the objective, and they're going to be able to grab it. Larson going into the midst of the pit. Chayak still alive on the backside, free to rain down a little bit of extra damage. Hextech Ray hitting, Hillisang standing. With the fight starting to fall apart, Knock-Knocko might have to make the difference alongside Chayak. That ulti's getting big from the Victor. Patrick caught out Chayak! The flash in, the siphon power! Taking the hope right out of Patrick's body. Larson cut down as well. Nowhere for this Scally to go. It's going to take a bit of a time, but a damn good fight for Vitality. A quadra for the Victor.
Oh my god, this Victor almost covering the whole screen. He just murdered everybody. Wow.
Spoilers.
Looked really good from Rogue. Really good timing. They waited out the Otacon buff so that they were able to actually kill instead of just sending them back to spawn. But the solo laners of Vitality are just too strong. Even though they're able to, I mean, also Knock-Knocko, great flash over the pit to get Malrang out of the smite. They're able to take down Carzzy, and it looks like this looks like a really good fight from Rogue. They take down Linkus, they take down Carzzy, but Chayak, look at this ultimate, just so big.
Also, just Victor against any short-range AD carry at a certain point just feels so completely and totally unplayable.
Yeah.
Q auto, hitting hard. And the fact that Knock-Knocko, part of this is, of course, when you're all out, you have a lot of Omnivamp, but the fact that he managed to live through that entire fight, despite starting the fight at 20% HP, is incredible.
And I do wonder.
Why we paused the game?
No.
Okay.
I wonder, I talked about the Varus build. Do you think if Varus had on hit, that fight could have turned out different.
I only remember the last part where he got Q auto'd, and no, I do not think that would have saved him. So we are getting now back into game. Just a quick pause there. But it's a good question. Question we might not be able to answer here. But the theory crafters, the replay reviewers, for sure will be able to tell us.
Please spend 15 hours trying to deduce if this was
the right call. The build police, they're always out in force. Build and draft police, always ready to show up.
And Malorang is not the instigator this time.
Yeah, I know. Where's the
he
phase?
hasn't been buying anywhere.
Where's the phase rush?
I want to see a Heartsteel Vi or something.
No, don't. Please.
That's the weird item that junglers are still buying, no?
Yeah. I mean, you know I hate it.
Yeah.
And I know you're trying to rage bait me, because I get that the Clink is maximum dopamine, but I just feel like it's so useless in Pro.
Undying Despair Vi, maybe?
Maybe. Something a little fresh. We've seen it.
Yeah.
All right, Vitality. 4 members strong, no longer empowered here, but Chayek, of course, still has the Baron buff. It's a slow push. It is a little bit awkward, and they're getting cross-mapped.
Yeah, this is a really nice cross-map by Rogue, actually. Just being able to trade tier 2s when enemy has Nash feels really good. It's one of the big weaknesses of Nyla is, to be honest, her siege. Because she's so low range, it's really hard for her to reach any towers. They do have Victor, however, who's really good at poking, but at the same time, Rogue has good wave clear with Galio and with Varus poke. So if they only drop 1 tier 2 off of this Nash.
And as much shade as you're throwing at the build choice here, Lethality Varus clears waves.
Yeah, it's
like
great for
nobody's
that.
business.
It's great for that.
So while the Baron fight is good, because they didn't keep enough members alive in the context of that fight, they can't really split Rogue up as much as they'd like, and so they don't really get much off the Baron.
The biggest problem is that Victor got a quadra kill, and he got so much gold that he's nearly on Rapidons. It went from being Galio was ahead of Victor, and now Victor is nearly a full item ahead of the Galio, and he's looking very scary.
Certainly. Rogue, next objective, again, 3 minutes and 30 seconds away, is Soul for Rogue. I can't imagine they'd want to trade it for the Baron, but they do at least have the threat to limit some of Vitality's options.
Looks like Rogue is willing to drop this tier 2 on top and just want to try to sneak this mid wave a little bit. But Larson also wants to sneak the bot wave. So they're just kind of willing to drop where they need to drop and just trying to sneak waves wherever they can. And Adam is not respecting anymore.
Pushback. Combo's good there. Knock taking a little bit more time. Not going to go all out. Just trying to harass. In the end, it's the tier 2 taken down. Vitality extending their gold lead even further, about 6K in their favor. Most of it on the Victor.
If I'm
and
Rogue,
Hilly.
I don't feel too bad about that. They lost a lot of wave spots. They only got 2 tier 2s with the Nash.
Yeah, if you put it in the context of them having Baron and kind of a fight where the Victor gets a quadra kill, I think things turn out pretty decently. Are we watching it back?
Yeah, didn't we ever watch this?
They're watching it back.
Yeah.
All right, tell me, does on-hit save this?
Let's see. So Patrick autos his count. I mean, there he can't auto because Nyla W.
2.
That was
Nyla W.
Both of them were W'd.
3, 4.
But the thing is, here he would be like so tanky, right?
2.
Kinda.
No, you're coping.
And he'd be life stealing.
I think you're coping. I think you're hard coping. I'm sorry. There are fights where you'd be right, but
yeah, he barely did any autos. But maybe he would play the fight different if he was on it.
Okay, Mr. Revisionist History. I think you're done. I don't think the build was the problem in that fight. I think you have to let that one go.
Are you saying the gameplay was the problem?
Whoa, sir. Maybe. I'm not an analyst. I'll leave that to you. But your build angle's wrong, and the whole world has seen you exposed.
Victor is the problem.
Victor is definitely...
And he's got that rabbit on now, so he's even more of a problem.
I don't think there's an item in the game that Patrick could have bought unless he was doing the top lane Mirrorwind build that probably would have kept him alive. You know, we needed some experimental Hexplate Hullbreaker Varus if he was going to live through that one.
I'd like to see that.
You wouldn't?
I mean...
You would spend the entire cast complaining about it for sure.
No, I mean, it's like... Maybe.
Depends on how good it is, right?
Yeah, if he's popping off, then
it's a good build.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I like that.
And again, Rogue is looking to just group up, sneak a wave. They're going to be trying to maybe even cross-map the Nash for Drake setup. That's some crazy emote spam.
Just really wants to get that last hit. Was afraid of being denied. Wrong game, but, you know, got to keep the mechanics fresh. Carzzy healing at this point in the game is pretty disgusting.
Execute trying to pull the wave here, but he's in a no man's land.
Always going to chase him down. There's no follow-up to get the Celestial opposition at least. Knockout now going in on Adam, but that's going to take a while to find that kill.
Decent damage focus out there, actually. And he is just menacingly standing there.
Nothing to spare. Also proccing. Okay. Baron up.
It's really hard when you have this bruiser into Cassandra and he also loses on side. But maybe we can
try to get a little psycho here. Patrick damage, a few more autos, max health, is starting to do some work. He hasn't even gone all out yet, and they've been able to find a good amount of damage. In the meantime, there's no real objective for Vitality to take. Good pick from Rogue.
But it's 20 seconds for Soul for Rogue. Cassandra's dead for nearly 60 seconds.
They don't have a best ult, but they do a Vi ult, and they have Galio
execute
ult.
my fish check here.
Patrick! Patrick, that's not where you want to get caught. The flashback! Deleted! Vitality, incredible patience to find the pick. Patrick thought he was safe. It's absolutely not the case. Larson forced to flash away. Vitality can just now go grab the Drake, grab the Soul if they so choose.
It's not Soul for Vitality though.
Pull back. Adam getting shredded. There's nowhere to go. The Victor chasing him down. Winston on the chase as well. Execute doing everything he can. The ult comes out, but there's nowhere for him to go. Patrick caught, and we've seen this one before. Vitality find that first kill. They'll get the Drake. They'll have setup on the Baron as well if they want it.
And if I'm Rogue, that feels so bad. You're finally able to kill this Cassandra, who's been in your face the whole game, and you throw it all away and just get caught.
I mean, it's tough.
It's tough.
You know, you never know what bush Hilly's going to be in.
Just
and when
assume
it's Hilly,
every bush.
When it's Hilly and Linsis, and they're working together.
Wow.
And the monkey goes invisible. I mean, it's really tough to... What is the right distance?
Further than what he was. I mean, I feel like Execute kind of knows that this bush is scary, so he's not face checking it. But maybe it's
this
like...
might have been a communication gap.
Yeah.
I feel like it... Because the way Execute is walking says
he for
to
sure
me
knew, yeah,
that
that
that's
someone is
dangerous. But I don't know if that information was communicated to Patrick.
And then it's just... They get picked
And then
up.
it's... I guess the frustration wards. They saw Vitality walk away. They're like, well, at least we'll... Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. And as a player, when you're in these games, it just feels so bad when you finally get this glimmer of hope, and then it's just snuffed out right in front of you.
And that's, yeah. In a game like this, all it takes is, when you're at a deficit, a single mistake, right?
Oh, Linsis with the crazy flank here.
Another flank. Patrick again caught. Ulti this time for Patrick is good. An extra magic damage shield is not going to help against the Wukong. Linsis on a killing spree, constantly finding these picks. And he can just keep going because he has the entire team with him. Adam making it over the wall. Linsis still chasing. Ulti from the Victor finishing and getting even bigger. Now Knock goes in the midst of the fight, taking his time with Execute. Execute, good initial disengage, trying to get away from Carzzy, but Carzzy still untouched, as is Chayak. Nowhere for them to go. Larson, Execute, Malrang, just not enough here. Goes Golden, has his fist in the air, but he's going to drop just as fast. Double kill for Carzzy. Malrang caught out as well. Vitality can just end it here. They look to push down mid and close this game.
Wow. And it's just beautiful from Vitality. They just find pick after pick after pick, and they're able to just convert it into... I mean, they're so tanky, they can just dive the towers without caring. And it's 10 seconds on Patrick. He does have good wave clear, but I don't think he can stop it. It looks like Vitality is going to be able to take down the Nexus.
Definitely tough. 2 picks. Multiple picks back-to-back. Linsis kicking off both. Good angle. Patrick is able to grab a kill back, but it does not matter. Vitality are not here to mess around. Or are they? No, they're here to end the game. Wow. Vitality moving up to 3-3. Rogue down to 1-4. From now on, for the rest of the split, any team that makes it to 5 wins will qualify for playoffs.
Welcome to Event VODs. Watch the full game of today's LEC 2025 matchup.
Because I played against both 113 and Paris last year, and I thought they were really good. So for me, it's been kind of baffling to see them look so disjointed and look, frankly, just bad in moments, when I think that they're both really good players that have a lot more to show than this. And I've been in a similar situation myself. When I played in LEC in 2023, I think I looked really bad. And I can understand that sometimes the pressure, when you're on a team, it's a new dynamic, everything is very different, that things can go bad. And I'm hoping that in this game today, we can see a better 113, we can see a better Paris, and we can see a close, aggressive BDS, and a nice Fnatic that we have been seeing battle it out.
A good even matchup. Of course, Fnatic, if they win this, they do lock playoffs with a week left. A week is only 3 games, but it is important to note for BDS. Dropping down to 2-4, it's not going to conclusively eliminate them in any way, shape, or form, but it will force them in a situation where if you want to be anything other than like 7th or 8th, you're going to really need to win out in that final week, and that's a tough task for any team.
Yeah.
Can be exceptionally grueling. For now, though, we enter the draft.
Wow.
Bylock
locked in. The opposite side, we're going to see immediate Varus Nidalee. You wanted to see...
I wanted to see some fighting and aggression, and
yeah.
113, his game plan against this Vi is going to be punish it early game, look to invade, look to get a camp lead, look to impact lanes, and just overall be everywhere on the map and try to outpace this Vi and generate a lead that way. And it's going to be a Kalista answer from Fnatic, so they're kind of answering fire with fire here, because they now want to contest through bot lane with the Kalista fighting and not allowing Nidalee to make her plays that way.
And I like the philosophy of matching fire with fire. Fnatic, obviously, one of our strongest early game teams. I think probably our strongest.
Probably the strongest, yeah.
Yeah, strongest early game team overall thus far from what we've seen. So backing up that playstyle choice with some strong early game picks, Rel, Kalista, Vi, great tools to force these fights if 113 does ever miss position. But you've got ice on something comfortable like the Varus. The question really is, what can you get out of Nidalee? Nidalee, a champion that historically has really good games.
Now I'm wondering,
or terrible games.
What does BDS answer here? So they could go for either a Braum. Oh, no, they just go for top lane. Well, for the support pick, they could go in two different directions. They could go for something like a lane counter, like Braum, but it's very weak with Nidalee because you really want to engage. Or they could go for something that's a game counter like Alistar, but has a very weak level 1. I really want to see Nautilus, because that's a decent champ into Rel, but it has a really good early game, and it synergizes greatly with Nidalee as you just hook and then spear on the hook.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Vi and Bessa combo, but...
Scuffed, yeah.
Yes, Vi and Bessa. Long range and Bessa. Little game of Battleship, the old Nidalee Nautilus combo.
But it's cool. Sorry, I kind of cut you off there, but it's cool to see that BDS is just kind of running with this early game aggression, looking in the Renekton, looking in the Nidalee, and probably they've scrimmed Fnatic, right? And maybe they got stumped in the early game, so their conclusion was, we need to have a strong early game comp and actually win early game against them.
Well, and the thing, it's important to note, while there are 3 champions that can do well in the early game on either side, BDS is a do or die.
Yeah.
BDS have put themselves under the gun, under the knife here, where it's like, you guys have to get something done early game. This is not a composition that will scale gracefully into the game.
Yeah.
Situationally, super powerful. Classic nightmare jungle top duo of the Renekton Nidalee. Most situations outside early game, infinitely harder to pull off. Incredibly low floor in terms of what it can provide.
Yeah, and I want to see if BDS decides to try to get some of that scaling from Nuke, or if they just say, you know, we're going to go early game everywhere, and either we win in 15 minutes or we lose in 15 minutes. Now we also have Fnatic pinching out the support pool with Alistar. Ooh, and they go for the Corki ban, which would make sense, a lot of sense, to be honest, with BDS's draft. I'd assume we're going to see a Nautilus lock-in on 4 here, but maybe Paris will surprise me.
Can't take their time. They technically don't need to pick Nautilus. They could instead prioritize some sort of AD mid-blind pick.
I think you'd rather have a counter pick, especially since Corki's out.
No, I mean, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Might as well save your pick 5, unless you're worried about Humanoid taking something away from you.
Ah, Braum, I don't like it. Because, as I said earlier, it's really strong for the lane, but now you have Braum Nidalee. It's super easy to avoid any sort of CC, and they have no real lockdown, and it's just it's a really difficult comp to pull off. And I would want BDS to play an easier to play comp, especially when they have been struggling.
I like that BDS have the confidence to put themselves on that difficult footing, but I agree that I'm skeptical if this is the right choice for a team that has struggled in a lot of games. Now,
on a more positive note though, it is really great at peeling off the Vi and the Rel, so it allows the Varus and Nidalee to play more cocky because you have some actual disengage from the Braum. Oh, and it's a Vi Rumble combo. This means it might be a Yone here for Fnatic, or Smolder.
It could be a Smolder.
Smolder blind pick.
Smolder blind.
I feel like the buff.
Someone cheered, whoever that is. I'm not sure about you. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't have time to talk to you about why you cheered, but I'm skeptical at the very least. And now Nuke. I kind of like if he just locks. I just think you beat the hell out of the dragon.
Yeah, I think you want to lock in some strong early game poking champion like the Jace. And it's funny, we've seen Smolder twice. We casted both the games, and Nuke played a bit against it both times now.
What about the Caps game? We didn't cast the Caps game.
Oh, I'm wrong, actually.
Yeah.
I just lied.
Sorry.
I forgot about the Caps game.
Yeah, I think you forgot. I don't think you have to be so harsh on yourself.
Well,
Will he build crit? That is the question. Essence Reaver Universal, but will it be a tier?
yeah, I hope he doesn't go the Esther Mana Immune full mana build.
No, don't like that. All right, BDS, all about early game. They should just be able to punch Fnatic in the face with their early game power, but if they fail to do that, this game is going to get out of hand very, very quickly.
Yeah, and Fnatic just has such a nice, easy to pull off composition. You just start off with the Vial or the Rel Engage, and then you layer the Smolder ult and the Rumble ult on top of it, and it's just such an easy, clean teamfight wipe. While BDS needs to play slow and methodical, they need to land the poke from Jace, Varus, and Nidalee, and they need to make sure that nobody's getting engaged upon. They need to play split from each other so they don't get wombo comboed. They have like so many conditionals that they need to meet to win fights, while Fnatic, it's kind of like they just need to press their buttons.
Yeah. Do you have R? Do you see multiple champs next to each other? If so, push R. If R hits, win the fight. Very simple, like, decision-making tree.
I like how you made it sound complicated.
I did, yeah. Well, look, you talked for like 30 seconds straight explaining how BDS do things.
That's
so
true.
I think that the amount we both spoke, hopefully, if our words failed to do so, hopefully the quantity of words made it clear to people which of the comps is easier to play.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain how never mind.
I mean,
maybe we get standard lanes. I think the one thing that shuts this whole thing down is, like, if I look at these compositions in a world where lane swaps don't exist, one, I'm really excited because lane swaps don't exist, but two, yeah, I think a lot of, like, what makes BDS's comp good doesn't hinge on standard lanes, but is definitely can be disrupted very heavily by a swap.
I'm not sure if BDS wants to swap. I think they don't. I think both teams kind of want standard lanes. And that's why both teams ended up late invading each other's sides and putting down vision. Because the Kalista and Rel can generate an early lead against the Varus Braum, because Kalista is much stronger level 1. But a bit of cheese from Mickey here. Oh, nice bush usage here. He's going in and out, so Ice can't auto him. It looks like Ice is kind of trolling there, not autoing, but it's because he's playing well with Fog of War.
Rel getting a bit of a chip here. Stacking Conquer. E-star from Oscar.
I think Oscar... No, he didn't lose minions, did he? Of XP. I think he got all of it.
Could be super relevant though, just has the Conqueror stacking up, knowing that Oscar cannot stick around without a Q.
Oh.
He walking in on level 1.
It's the power of Kalista, but doesn't result in much of anything.
Looks like Mickey missed a little bit of XP, slightly late to the level 2, but should not matter. Pressure in the favor of the Fnatic bottom lane for now.
But already now I'm curious, like, will 113 look to invade the Vi here on blue buff? It doesn't look like it. Smolder's actually getting prio against the Jace here, and it looks like 113 is just going to full clear into bot. But I think if I'm Fnatic and I'm seeing my jungler able to clear all 6 camps, I'm incredibly happy.
I think the big kind of prerequisite for the Nidalee, right, is that you need to be able to punish the Vi or at least get active sooner. As we pretty much always say when Vi comes in, I'm sure people are tired of hearing it. It's like, if Vi gets to level 6 scot-free against any champ that's supposed to be stronger in the early game,
she's happy.
She's very happy, and you're very sad, because...
Especially as Nidalee, who's like the premier invading high-tempo jungler.
And again, if you're going to go like Super Saiyan crazy good hands, I can see a world where you still outplay, but Razork can just push R.
And Razork's a very good Vi.
And Razork's a very good Vi. He can push all of the buttons, not just R.
He can pull off the Q flash on Vi consistently, which many of our junglers cannot.
Why does everything you say turn to shade for somebody? It's me, it's the pros, it's a build. 113. Oh. Angle not quite right there. Can't still just leap in and get a small trade, but tanks a tower shot.
Has to be careful here. He's going to be able to back off.
I still think that even just a pressure gank isn't too bad early. You'd hope for more in terms of getting summoner spells, but at least you're doing something to assist your laners.
Yeah, but this is a Vi that gets her recall off before Nidalee even started the Scuttle Crab. I really wanted to see more from this Nidalee in the early game, because as Vi right now, I'm very happy. And Mickey with the cancel. Oh, but he might be trolling here, actually.
You can W over the wall. 113 might want to chase. Spear. Barely not connecting. Don't know if he'd want to chase that anyway. Doesn't have good information on where Vi is.
Upser here posturing aggressively because he knows Nidalee has to recall. They might even look for some sort of flash play with Mickey, or maybe it's a drip.
They only really have 3 casters here. I should just be able to clear this wave. I don't think there's a good angle to dive against the Braum. Guardian
it's a bit optimistic, yeah. Bit of a shame here because Razork loses some of the tempo lead that he built up over the Nidalee trying to look for this play. But it's still a very good situation for him. They're kind of matched opposite sides of the map.
I'm not sure who comes out on top. I'm checking in on mid lane really quick. I'll say Humanoid doing surprisingly well for a matchup that I would have expected to be a lot more difficult early on. Last time we saw this, it was Nuke into Camilo. It was the Corki instead of the Jace, which I do think is much stronger in those early level trades, and it was unplayable.
Yeah, I think Corki has a lot stronger early game pressure, but I think this Drake start from Razork could be a bit greedy here. 1-1-3 might be spotted.
In, level advantage.
Nuke has first move.
Razork trying to sidestep Q over the wall. All in on the bottom lane. Flash over from 1-1-3. Razork trading flashes here. First blood for 1-1-3, and now Upset's going to be the one in trouble. Paris is ticking, but they desperately need to finish that kill. Hail of arrows. The spear doesn't connect. Upset should just die here. Mickey doesn't have anywhere to go. He reminds us the footwork is good, but he is going to get taken down. Q through from Paris to get the assist as well. Fnatic, 3 deaths in the blink of an eye.
And this was the early game I want to see from BDS. You pick champions that are able to fight, and Fnatic, they can't help themselves. They want to do the same. They want to match your aggression. They want to beat you early game, even with a worse early game composition. And that's when you catch them off guard. Beautiful mechanics from 1-1-3 there. Good bot lane skirmish. Great start to the game for BDS.
Definitely, and I think they needed that, right? Now Razork is kind of trying to force something here on the top side. We'll get at least one grub to slow down BDS potentially taking this objective. Kalista on top side first as well. So Fnatic.
Varus is dropping this top wave, looking to move here. Changes his mind. This is something Fnatic does so well. They're able to do these bounce back plays after they do a bad play, and just immediately reset into a good proactive play for themselves. And overall they turn a situation that should have looked really dire, where they all die, into just free grubs and a push out on Kalista.
Yeah, I will say not entirely free. As you can see the gold at the top of your screen, there's a bit of a difference now brewing as the Nidalee.
Well, that happened before they got the free grubs.
True. But how do you decide when it's a cross map? What's the timestamp that we're looking at here?
You can't die and then respawn.
And then call it the same trade. All right. Relevant, good damage down. Oscar in trouble. Trying to get out. Really no way to escape, and that's the power of this combo. 1-1-3 in Irrelevant. Well played by the side of BDS. First death of the game for Oscar yesterday. He was focused, shut down on the Jace pick. And it's a rough start here in day 3. The Rumble, we like the ult, we like what it could bring to a team fight, but with Renekton starting to build a lead with Nidalee ahead, it's going to be so tough to get the time to scale up.
And I'm loving this version of BDS we're getting here with 1-1-3 on a proactive carry champion that can make plays and make stuff happen on the map, where he's also able to play greedy and for himself. It's a joy to watch.
And I think shout out to BDS coaching staff and the players who enabled him to do this, right? A lot of the Sejuani gameplay, who's supposedly like the safe standard, right? There were still some hiccups. So to double down on your player and to say, hey, we'll give you something even more risky and more volatile is a bold call that's paying off for BDS. As now Fnatic trying to force the dive. Ice locked up, really nowhere to go. Smolder ulting in for a bit of an assist. Blocked initially by the Braum. Should find the quick kill. Paris now going to be in trouble as well. TP there. Razork going to fall. That slow lasts for a year. Well played by BDS to get the 1-for-1, 5-1 the kill score, and a 2K gold lead.
And it was well played by BDS bot lane. They could have played it a bit better in certain aspects, but I like their idea of how they played the dive. But I hate the fact that Irrelevant ends up TPing in. So what you'd aim to see is when they send so many members up towards top, you have some sort of cross map. Jace is at least getting plates on mid, but Rumble is also to trade it back to get plates on bot. It's a really good play from Fnatic, and that Smolder ult, you could see how much damage it did. It kind of turned the tides of the dive. I think if they don't have that, they're actually not able to dive.
Also, again, Humanoid is this ticking time bomb. The Smolder eventually going to be that big threat against a composition where just about every single champion is squishy. Renekton even won't feel that tanky in the late game.
Yeah.
Arso on the Braum, I think the one really fantastic thing about having Braum in any composition is this champion just has some of the best support scaling in the game in terms of what you can get out of a well-positioned Unbreakable.
I mean, what BDS has that is nice against Smolder is the range, but they don't have any lockdown to speak of. So once the Smolder gets his rapid fire cannon and he starts to be a bit cocky with the movement, it gets really hard for BDS, unless they land significant amount of poke, to actually shut him down in team fights.
And maybe that puts more pressure on Ice, right? As the one form of non-committal hard engage. Varusalt, very flashable, but
you know, we've seen even Flacket the other day for Team Heretics just having that all-star carry performance. You can do so much work if you find the right position with this champion in a fight. It's a little bit harder, admittedly, with the lethality build. It is more just about landing those Qs, but a clutch ult could be the difference.
To be fair, I think Ice has been maybe the best, or one of the best, at least, lethality viruses we've had in...
I argued last year I think he was the best. In terms of Qs hit, we had a lot of lethality viruses, not going to name any names, who missed those Qs in the clutch moment. I think if you look at just hit percentage, Ice is certainly top in the charts.
Oh, with
Give it the same case this year. Phase Rush, a good shout. Oscar Renan gonna fall again. No, the extra bit of shield. 113 now trying to save. Nice initial sidestep. 113 in trouble, but manages to get out of tower range in time. Yet another dive, the exact same spot. This time Jace instead of the Renekton, but BDS rinsing, repeating, making this Nidalee work.
Wow, and 113 is everywhere. And his laners are really able to set up the ganks well. Really good movement there by Nook to get behind the Oscar and kind of insect him back into the Nidalee. And this Nidalee is getting fed.
2.3k gold lead, 1,000 of that in the hands of the Nidalee. Already finishing Leandries. It's gonna be a nightmare for 1v1. Side laners are gonna be miserable this game as well.
It's going to be another grub contester. Relevant's on the flank, but he might be the one getting flanked.
You win from Razork. Relevant really not concerned.
Wow, he's just clicking forward.
Dominus there. Paros on the way. Ulti from the Smolder. No hope really from Humanoid to extend this, but can just stack up at the very least. In the meantime, fight kicking off. BDS just lost Ice. Upset finding 2 kills. We might need to see that one again.
What happened?
I don't know. That was for sure POV of Irrelevant, though. He's just top lane.
I mean, I liked what Irrelevant was doing. He was going
fighting for his life. Quick pan over.
But then Paris is leaving his ADC to help a Renekton that doesn't really need it. And maybe there was some bad pathing from BDS.
We'll see it at some point.
Yeah,
the good news is for now, Ice is able to start. But okay,
let's see here.
Paris sprinting. Everyone's eyes locked on the top lane.
But it looks like Ice is maybe just disrespecting the...
Good engage.
Yes, no flash.
This is the ultis. This is what you talked about, right? The Rumble.
Yeah.
Paired with the Rel. It's so simple.
And Nook tries to salvage the play, but it's not enough. It's a good play by Fnatic, but you can see the disjointedness in BDS there. Paris wants to go help Irrelevant. Ice kind of left on his lonesome. And it just results in when you're against a snappy, good team like this Fnatic, they punish you for that instantly.
And a reminder of the power of proactive CC, right?
Yeah.
They can pull the trigger. It's not a luxury that BDS have. BDS have to be playing better on the setup, have to be setting up better vision so they don't end up in these situations again.
And you could see, even when Paris did reach Irrelevant, he throws a Braum Q and it's like, okay, that's it. My job here is done.
Hey man, that's a winter's bite, okay? It matters, I swear. I mean, because again, in theory, it's good if you can get the enemy team to fight into you, but I think this is a situation where I bring up kind of what you were talking about in draft, where having that more proactive engage tool, even if it might have costed them a little bit in the lane, certainly would have paid off here in the mid game. Now that they do have this lead on a champion like the Nidalee.
And also, it's so scary seeing this Smolder build up a gold lead against this Jace. I feel like he's going to be a real menace in this game. Just the ulti in and of itself is starting to do so much damage.
Frustrating to deal with. 115 stacks for Humanoid, about to tick over to that next threshold at 125.
That's taking the plant.
Razork going in, just walks in and smites it. Whoa. Now the ulti onto 113, they're desperate to find that shutdown. Mickey trying to follow up, good interrupt from Paris, so buying a lot of space. Razork, the flash in, they're trying to lock him up. One more stack of the explodes and they get him. Don't have vision in the bush, but they don't need it. In the meantime, Mickey cut down as well. Fnatic hungry for shutdowns, but cost them a couple lives in the process. They do get the smite steal, but now BDS are on the chase.
And Razork gets super over-eager there. It's a beautiful steal from him, but after that, he flash ults into the whole enemy team, and Paris plays it beautifully, abusing the Braum pick to CC the Rel, so Rel can't follow it up. It's just a bit puzzling decision-making from Razork, and a really nice punish by BDS.
Again, yeah, good punish. Unfortunate that they were not able to secure the Drake, and from Fnatic, obviously in hindsight, probably should have been happy just taking the Drake and walking away.
Yeah.
But you can see that cat has $400 in her pocket extra, and Razork really wanted that money.
Like, it looks like when Fnatic get this, you're like, oh, you got the Drake, good job. But then flash ulting in when our carries are so far away, and Razork plays it well to try to get out, but Paris says no, flashes after him, gets the auto, locks him up, and Irrelevant also abuses the fact that Paris hits a random Q onto Mickey to just flash W him, lock him down. 2 clean kills for BDS.
I'm gonna say right now, that's Ambessa brain.
He thought his top laner was playing Ambessa. That is, they've been playing that composition.
To be fair, they have Rumble vibe, which is like the same
up.
thing. But I think Rumble was...
Yeah, not quite in position. Instead, covered the retreat. But certainly the Callista and the Smolder were not able to follow up. Ooh, that Winter's Bite hitting is big, but BDS don't want to overchase.
Paris is a very good Braum. In the BDS, or in the EMM Masters semifinals, he played Braum all 3 games, and he stumped us.
That is...
He hit every Q. Well, now he missed.
Nice stun. Cast your curse. That's your new power. Don't abuse it.
Oh, yeah, no, yes, cool. It's still that good,
but good on BDS. Again, small incremental advantages continuing to choke Fnatic out on the map. Or looking to.
Looks like they're going to get the first tower, though, for the feats of strength. And, ooh, 1-1-3.
In. They really want to get this kill. 1-1-3 now running. We'll probably be able to take out Mickey, but maybe they can get a kill back. Paris just denying all this damage. Braum so damn obnoxious. Seeker's arm guard doing so much work. Cleanse from Upset. A lot of spears stacking. Upset on a rampage. He wanted the Q through for the extra spears, but the timing didn't quite line up. 1 for 1 though, and in the meantime, BDS still able to grab that bot lane tier 1, so not a bad trade.
Yeah, good mechanics there by Upset, dodging every skill shot and then cleansing the stun immediately, and just overall kind of salvaging the play. I feel like Mickey maybe went a bit too overeager there, got a bit angry that his base was getting cancelled. Ends up being a tower for BDS, and they secure the feats of strength.
467 extra gold and growing for this Nidalee. But you said it, feats of strength, especially for the Varus with the Swift Marches. This is going to be big. A lot of members of his team. A little bit extra tools to keep himself safe. A little extra movement speed is certainly going to help against the Rumble slows and the Smolder slows.
They're sieging on this mid tower here, and Smolder and Callista's bot and Smolder is far. They might be able to just get it. They can transition that into top dive and Herald maybe. Fnatic is really slow on this bot play. It's a good
multi-top.
Good Rumble ult to deny the cross map top.
He might still be in trouble. No, not willing to commit. Herald is up, so BDS happy with that. Maybe just harass Oscar, deny him, get that health bar a little bit lower so he can't come.
BDS is trying to bite off a little bit more than they can chew here, with both going for the Herald and going for this play on Oscar. But maybe they get.
I mean,
Oscar
1-1-3.
I don't.
Everything.
I don't like it that much. It delays them a bit too much in the Herald take. You can see it resets, and it kind of diminishes this tempo advantage that they had. I would have liked if after Rumble ults the top wave, they say, well played to him, he cleared the wave, let's just get the Herald and let's keep this tempo up. Because now what you'll see is Fnatic is so far ahead in tempo, and I don't think 1-1-3 can even do the Herald anymore.
They're going to try to commit to it.
Oh, this might be tragic.
Razork in the area. None of the carries are here, however. But as you highlighted, BDS, there's too many waves that need attending. They can't commit enough members.
And even though they might get this Herald and it might look all good and well, the problem is that like Paris and 1-1-3 now really need to base, while Mickey and Razork can be the ones that are actually proactive since they just came off the base.
But the question is, ultimately, what do they do with that? Can they punish BDS for what was potentially too greedy a move? They got the Herald already.
Either they can lock them in this sort of map state, where the only way BDS can get out is by getting a pick if they are able to get this cheese.
Ooh, good word from Mickey. And yeah, they anticipate, and they try to account for Fnatic's advantage, assuming they'll overstep. Mickey dropping the ward spots to play at the very least.
BDS, I think, salvages it decently. They don't end up having to drop top tower. It's very common when you make a tempo mistake like this that you have to drop a tier 1 or have to drop like really hard vision to one side. But ends up being not too bad, and it was a good cheese attempt by them. And they're first to move into Drake. But maybe Jace will get dove on this top wave here.
Razor covering.
It's a good hover by Paris here to try to defend this play, but I think he might be too late.
And credit to Paris. You call that as Braum in the semifinals in EUM, but it's just been everywhere here in LEC this game to help protect against these dives. Fnatic not going to make the same mistake twice, 3 times? They've dove into Paris a number of times this game. It has not worked out really in any of them.
It's good that Ice is also hovering up here, but I don't like that they're fighting. They're still doing Drake.
Good engage. Initially going to kick things off. Human right now following up with that ult of his own, trying to finish off the kill here. Upsetting there in the meantime as well. The TP's coming in, but might be a little bit late because now it's Ice who's been caught out. Mickey going forward. Ice going to be in trouble. The pullback is good initially on the Rel, and Ice goes down. Ice taken out, Upset and Mickey versus World, but Mickey already taken down as well. The Fnatic solo laners coming in clutch to help support them. The Dragon down. 1-1-3 is able to grab, but Fnatic finding so many kills on the top side.
Upset is dancing on the Kalista, and it's a beautiful prediction on the Kalista ult from Mickix onto Ice, who tries to flash away. But I have to wonder, BDS, you guys are getting Drake for free. Your goal is to defend this top tower. Why are we clicking so aggressively? We could just chill. Our most fed member is doing Dragon for free. If we just don't fight here, we're winning.
Yeah.
But we fight.
They thought they had
But
a
look,
good angle
I mean,
to
the
defend.
mechanics, Upset flashes forward with the Callisto ulti so that Mickey can reach the ice that's flashing away, and then Upset is kind of dancing, yumping.
I'm sorry, what?
Yumping?
Yumping?
It's the
There's a
yumper.
little Norwegian coming out there for the people?
He's a yumper.
It's a yumper.
If you ever see Tristana meta, it'll be yump meta.
All right, yump meta. I'll wait for it. Look, I think at the end of the day, that was a 2-for-2 trade. And it's important for people to understand that BDS, you think it's an even trade, plus they get dragged, they're trading up a little bit?
2-for-2 trade? That felt like...
2-for-2 trade. Well, Mickey and Razork both died.
Oh.
It's interesting.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
felt really bad.
It felt really bad. But what I will say is trading against a team, trading even or slightly down against, or slightly up against a team that probably shouldn't have any business contesting you is going to make things much trickier, because Ice, who we kind of expected to be really central to the team here based on his earlier performances, is now 1-3. And he can't keep the enemy team at arm's race, but Upset is getting very scary very quickly.
Yeah. And Upset is playing really well mechanically this game. He's dodging all of the skill shots that he kind of needs to dodge. And this is a really cool Callista game, because if you have good movement this game as Callista, you can glide.
Yeah.
And you can glide hard. And especially with this new Callista that scales much better. So essentially what they changed is her dash speed in the early game is slower, but her dash speed in the late game, once she has attack speed, is a lot faster. So if we see him clicking well this game, we can see some montage making.
Upset, pressure to find the montage. Humanoid, I think, will have a bit of an easier time as we go later in the game. Did go Shojin. Not sure if it'll be Rapid Fire next, what the angle is going to be, but about to tick over to 225 stacks, so we'll have the execute. BDS fishing.
BDS has full control over this Drake, and this is kind of their prime time here, where they just want to poke before the objective spawns.
Oh, I mean, if they, with the range advantage they have, if they get Ocean Soul,
That's
I mean,
true.
either side gets Ocean Soul, it's a big deal, but BDS, it would certainly help push their lead ahead, which was
But I
at
think
one
it would
point
be
much
better
bigger.
for Fnatic to get Ocean Soul against poke.
Oh, I mean, 100%, but they're only at 1 Drake, so
That's true.
it's a little bit further away. It wasn't a personal attack. But I'm glad
Fnatic are wrestling back control of this Atakan. But they're dropping mid-wave for it.
it is a little bit awkward. So
But they
they're
could
losing.
use the Callista Ren to try to kind of secure the objective, but they're kind of kiting it into Narnia here, so it's going to reset.
At the very least, Upset staying topped up.
And
Yes.
they're just going to reset.
So, okay, it cost them about 400 gold, 300 gold to participate in that particular exchange. The Herald is now going to get dropped to just act as another pressure point, and it looks like BDS will use that to force Otacon.
Yeah, so Fnatic is just making the decision to fully ignore mid. They do not want to drop this Atakan, and they're willing to just fully drop resources for it.
235 on Humanoid and the ulti. If BDS don't overcommit here, they get damage for free, but if they do overcommit and they lose the fight, it would be disastrous.
And we need to see some good poke landing here from Nidalee, Jace, and Varus. Although this Rift Herald is doing work, to be
I mean,
honest.
I think for BDS, you got what you wanted. You see the reset now coming in from
Well,
Humanoid.
Upset with a good cheese here.
Upset walking in onto Irrelevant. Irrelevant going to be forced back. Mickey
Oh,
trying to force the engage in the meantime as well. Rumble all down across the entire team in the midst of the Otacon pit. That's the shutdown. With only 4 members in the fight, Humanoid now TPing in 2. The Herald looking at another charge mid lane, but it might not matter. BDS only losing 1.
Really creative play by Upset there with the cheese. It's going to be a flip for the Atakan.
3K getting lower, 113 looking for redemption, but no! Once again, Razork's able to find it. This time when he charges in, there's a dragon to back him up. Shut down on a 113, a big bag of gold, an Upset going legendary.
At first I thought they got Elder there because I see the Smolder execute. And it's just a really good combination of the Rend plus the Vice Smite that doesn't allow 113 to try to get the steal. And as you can see, if BDS doesn't get the poke before the fight starts, it's a disaster for them. All you need is Rel to engage on someone. It wasn't even a crazy engage. He only got the Renekton, but just the fight needs to start. And Upset's also playing this fight brilliantly, not really getting hit by anything, which allows Fnatic to take full control of the Atakan, utilize the Rend plus the Vice Smite together. It's really beautiful.
Certainly is. And you know what? I was wrong. BDS had a lead, but it was in the end 2 Drakes to 2. Forgot about the one in the mid lane.
Can't believe you did that.
If you weren't here for Saturday, he made a cringy Drake joke, and I'm just trying to support him by also...
Well, now it's 3 Drakes.
now it's 3 Drakes.
And Irrelevant's angry.
Irrelevant, very frustrated, but this is not going to go well for him. Running, Paras trying to give his life, trying to body block as much as he can, but Ice is
Still
so
have
weak.
Atakan.
Upset is just...
Upset's aggressive.
You wanted to see him gliding. Does tank that spear, though, the slow. Making it a bit easier to land. And now Fnatic with a 1K gold lead. sitting in an incredibly comfortable spot. How do they push this lead? That is the big question. So many teams, I won't say have squandered, excuse me, Atacon, but a lot of teams have struggled to use it to its fullest. It is 30 seconds till Baron at the very least. How much can Fnatic get?
I mean, I think the nice thing about Fnatic comp is that they can really easily start the Nash. I don't think they can really play for tier 2s unless they're willing to dive. But I would like to see them maybe just transition their pressure. Okay, they're going to make a Hail Mary play with this Atacon on both. And probably they're just going to be able or willing to die to... it looks like Upset doesn't want to. I mean, it's not even a cannon wave. It's nothing. I think they're just going to push this wave. They're going to look to reset, set up the Nash. What's really nice about Fnatic's team comp is that they can so easily turn from this Baron Nasher. They just need someone to get CC'd and the fight to actually start. And then it's going to be a clean wipe from them. On the other hand, it can be risky to start the Nash, because if BDS then gets some poke, doesn't give them that engage, and combined with the Nash damage, that can be kind of scary. But anyways, with the Atacon, they don't end up getting that much other than getting back that gold lead that they had lost earlier, which is really OP when you have a Smolder and an easier to play composition.
When you have a composition that should be, as you highlighted, more situations in which you'll be able to leverage your power and a better scaling champion in the mid lane in the vast majority of situations, you're okay to have maybe not the flashiest big objective. Like you can take a Baron just for gold and to buy yourself another couple minutes, or an Otacon just for some waves, maybe a tier 2 tower.
And normally when we think about Otacon, we want this huge leads, we want them to do a ton. But when you're scaling better and you have an easier to play composition, and you already got a lot of kills getting the Otacon, you're fine with just getting waves out pushed and trying to play it that way, especially when you don't have Nash buff and you're playing against champions that have incredibly good wave clear like the Jace and the Varus. It do be like that.
Certainly does. Humanoid just continuing to stay. We've got a bit of a pause. Not an actual pause, sorry. Hold your breath, it's fine. Gameplay is continuing, but it's slowed down. There's no... Baron's the big objective to fight for, but both sides kind of need to set their waves up. And without a dragon on the map...
There's a dragon on the map.
Oh,
well, I do want to say...
Are we going to do this all year?
I want to say something ironic. The one thing that got buffed on Smolder is Infinity Edge. It's the only thing, and the champion's been considered trash.
Yep.
The 2 times, like we've seen Smolder 2 out of 3 times now, he hasn't built Infinity Edge.
Yep. Hashtag pro play.
Yeah. Makes you think.
It's just, every time we have a designer on the podcast on Euphoria, they're just like, we have to mind control pros to play things sometimes. Like there are champs that are OP for like 8 patches in a row, and we can just never get pros to play them. Sometimes it just takes like a little buff, like, ooh, 2 AD, and then